Hey everyone, especially our Facebook family tuning in today from wherever you are in the world. This is the interview series Lessons Learned in Life, where I bring lots of different people from all walks of life with all different cultural backgrounds and just different life experiences who come on to the show and share their story of how they got to where they are today, but certainly learnt a few lessons along the way. So today's special guest is Bobby F. Paraha. He's coming all the way over from Canada, and I can't wait for him to share all about his life story. He's got an amazing life story. So if you're watching this, let us know where you're coming in from, or if you're watching the replay, just say hi and where you are as well. I'll just find where Bobby is. Where's Bobby? Oh. Okay. Why is this not working? Oh, not there. Oh, not working there. Alrighty, let's see. So we'll just try and get him on. Hope you're all well. It's Tuesday today here in Melbourne, Australia. I don't know where you are in the world, but it could either be the day before or the day after. Let's see. Welcome, welcome. Let's try and get Bobby on. Just make sure. We've got lots to share today. It's going to be amazing sharing his story. Tag someone in. Let's see if I can find him. Bobby. There he is. Oh. I can get him on. Welcome, welcome to the show. We are just waiting for our special guest. This is Lessons Learned in Life, where, as I said, we bring on lots of different people from all walks of life. And here he is. Awesome. Alrighty. Hey, hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Very, very well. How are you?
Great to connect with you.
I know.
This is going to be a
Good
lot
to
of
connect
fun.
with you too. What's that?
This is going to be a lot of fun.
I know, I'm actually really looking forward to it. So welcome, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on to share your story, which some people may know, some people may not know, but certainly it'll be amazing to share it with whoever's tuning in now or in the future for the replay. So how about we kick it off and start with really where it all began. So tell us a little bit about how Bobby got to where he was today, or, you know, like your childhood. Let's kick it off.
Let's see, where do I start? Where did it all begin? Well, first of all, it's an absolute pleasure to connect with you. Thank you so much for having me on. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, you know what? This is awesome. I haven't even done your numbers yet, and you're already wanting to share my story with people, and I was just like super blessed for that opportunity. So my name is Bobby at Prairie Heart, guys. I like long walks on the beach, and so basically what happened, the way that I started in all of this was actually inside of this business. So for any of you guys who are inside of our community already, you know that we're entrepreneurs. We're soul conscious entrepreneurs who are wanting to help people get to some place in their life. And along my journey, my mentor and friend of mine showed me numerology. Weird, right? And he's like, trust me, dude, you gotta see this. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a look. I'm spiritual. I don't mind. I'm kind of skeptical. So numbers kind of got me a little bit. I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, if someone can see these numbers, then I'd love to take a peek. So I got a chance to look into numerology, and the way that I got introduced to it was by a friend of my friend. He recorded his reading, and so we were watching this, and we were like, this woman knows everything about him without even knowing him, and she's telling him stuff that there's no possible way that she would know about. And we were just like sitting there like, are you serious? This is crazy. And so he wanted to show it to us, and when he did, I dug my teeth into it. Super, super powerful. I wanted to get into that. I wanted to figure it out, learn how to speak in it. And it opened me up, because up until that point, I was hiding a bruised ego. I had a secret addiction to drugs nobody knew about. I basically was like, everyone's like, "Oh, how come you're single?" And I was like, "I don't know, this woman doesn't want to find me. I don't know what the deal is. Like, I'm super eligible." And then, but I wasn't able to do anything with it, and I never really thought my name was holding me back. It just never occurred to me that that would be something I would think about. And so I was like, take a new name. And then the story started to come out. There was a time where I didn't talk about my failure in employment, or I didn't talk about my failure in self care, and I didn't talk about my self harm and drug abuse, and I didn't talk about my love life because I was pretending like everything was okay. I was just like, it's all good. That picture of someone on a burning boat. They're just like, I'm thumbs up. Like, no, you're not. You can't even stand up. And so this was where I was in my life. And when I got this name, like I guess it's hard to say when I got this name. I took the letter F, and Francisco's my middle name, so I felt that aligned with me, and I didn't want to take a weird letter because I didn't want to mess up my name and put something strange in there. So I took the F, and it ended up giving me business purpose, spirituality, and family communication all in balance. And it took me a while to get out of my old ways, 30 something years of growing the way I was. It took me a couple of years to really pick myself together, get over my own shadow, and to really, like get over myself. But it took me through the uncovering of my journey into self abuse, my journey into drug abuse, my journey into not being able to find employment, because for a while I wasn't using numerology as a business. I was still just trying to build my life as an entrepreneur, do the best thing I could, but something wasn't clicking. I wasn't able to figure it out, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Something's missing. But I ended up like learning about the fact that my name was holding me back. It had negative self communication, and I didn't want to say anything. I had no level of expression. So there's a lot of stuff that was really biting me, that wasn't helping me or solving any issue. But then I took a switch, and this is the kind of the way numerology works. I'm pretty sure this question is going to come up. So what is it? How does it work? I took my name and I added a couple of extra steps to it. So instead of going into a place that was like meow and then like didn't want to say anything, now it was just like pouncing right on the moment, right on the communication. What built long term wealth. It was a few short years, and I built a business that I could take with me wherever I wanted. I built a business helping entrepreneurs get to their next level. I found the love of my life. I became a father. I basically moved to the island, like one after the next, like it was just, it felt like the whole world was lining up for me. And it was so super cool because I affected people. I helped people. I named babies. I helped parents. I helped people conceive. Like it's a crazy technology. Like just wait until we dive into this properly. You're going to be like astounded by the amount of application this has anywhere you want in your life. You name it, any place in your life that you feel is lacking, there is a vibrational aspect to be able to turn the key on that and help you move forward. So when I was, I got a chance to you introduce yourself, say, hey, let's do this, and I'm like, heck yeah, because I felt that energetic frequency, that sequence that you have, to feel like an amplifier for me. So I was like, wow, if you're gonna lend all of this spiritual energy for my craft, I had to take you up on this offer. So I was like, sure, let's talk about all the challenges I've been through. Let's talk about all of that stuff. I'm so totally game for that because the world needs it. People need to know that there's help. They need to know that there's people out here to take care of each other. We're all in this together. Like yourself, you call yourself the soul nourisher. And I'm like, this is really what we're doing is we're helping people get to the next stage. So I really love what you're up to. The fact that you're interviewing people and doing this whole series thing. And then you're like, it'd be cool if you were number 11, right? I'm like, I'm a life path 11. That would be so super awesome. But thank you so much again for having me on. If you have any specific questions, if you want to dive into any specific part of my freckled history, I'd love to go in there for you. No holds
Yeah,
barred.
I think it's, yeah. I certainly want to tackle the numerology, but I think it would be great to understand the Bobby that, pre now, because, obviously it gives everyone kind of an understanding of, where you've come from to, like all the good and the bad. And, it's seems to be one of those things that we go on a journey, whether it's through substances, whether it's through, all sorts of things that can happen to, many different people for various reasons. But I think opening up that avenue of discussion and being really, open and sharing that allows people to be okay to also share their story, or to open that part of themselves up and connect with that part of them that maybe, might be being dormant, or there's resistance to go in. So, knowing that there's other people who they may not even be aware of that have gone through, experiences like, I don't know how many people watching this understand what you have gone through, that know you or don't know you. And so I'd love them to kind of get an insight to kind of understand, okay, this is where you have come from. This is real. This is your life. This is your journey. What did you kind of get through in that process? And then obviously we'll tackle, why you're now doing what you're doing, because there's a beautiful purpose to that as well.
Cool.
And a beautiful reason that you're doing that, right? So if you could share with us, what did your childhood look like? What did, Bobby as a boy or a young child, how was life back then?
I'd like to say it was really good, and it was also a little bit of trouble. I was a troublemaker, and I was basically a pretty feisty little kid. On one side, I was being told how great and good looking and you're such a sweet boy. But on the other side, I was getting slapped, and I was basically getting bullied at school, teased for my weight. I had a little belly, a baby belly on me, and I was basically chubby. So I was emotional feeling kind of guy. So I was an easy target to get picked on, and it was torture. And I don't even I look back now, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because now it's like completely different. And I'll go back, I look back, I'm like, oh, that's right. I got teased on in school, got beat up all the time, and like, it was like, it was tough because here I am trying to be friends with people, but then I just couldn't figure it out. It didn't seem to, and that seemed to be like a theme that was in my life, and I just couldn't figure things out. Okay, that was like my slogan. I was like, I just can't figure it out. Like I always would say that. And when it was back in elementary school, grade 3, 4, and 5, hey, I had a crush on a girl, I'd get teased for that. Or they would say, oh, look, the Bobby likes this girl, and like in front of everyone. And then next thing you know, it would just be the most humiliating thing, getting beat up in high school, picking fights. And I started to fight back a little bit. And then I would get in trouble. And it was weird because I'm like, I'm the victim here. I got to stand up for myself. And it was crazy because I was always into spirituality. Back then in 2001, 2000, it was like meditation and out of body experience. You would sit there and like leave your body, and that's what we were trying to do. That was my introduction into spirituality. Was, oh, you could get into this state where you could leave your body. It's crazy. And I'm like, oh, this is really, really weird. I'm down. And it led me into going inward, going in with myself. And I felt like I was always spiritually connected. But interestingly enough, it was like grade 9 or grade 10 when that kind of all started for me. And I was like, I started to turn the lights on to a deeper level of thinking. And at that moment, when it was grade 9, grade 10, around there, I also started smoking a lot of weed. And I was basically always smoking blunts, smoking joints. Let's do it, rip it up at the weekend. I ended up smoking a lot of weed, and I failed grade 10 math. And my parents were just like, oh my God, what's happening to my son? And like, I was falling down this path. And from where I'm at in the world, like Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, smoking weed's like a part of the culture. So it was very easy to be like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no worries. Obviously, it was for my parents. They're like, oh my God, he's turning into drugs. And it was crazy because, I was like trying to fit in, couldn't. I ended up having to go to another school to find friends, like literally, or a year younger. So it's really popular with the girls in a younger grade, or girls or people in another school. But when it came to people my age, it was like, you're a loser, this and that, and you're like, always making fun of me or doing stupid things behind my back, stealing stuff, like jacking my car, ripping things off my car, like just tormented. And then I was like, got the invite for the high school reunion. I'm like, screw that, screw you guys. I don't got to be a part of this. And like it was even to this day, I feel like, I guess I'm a little sore about that, but at the same, I bless them. I give them love. Hey, they were probably getting bullied too. They were probably getting bullied from their parents, or they were expressing their own cycle of hurt. So I didn't really, I mean, from what it damaged me, I didn't take it personally. I got a chance to forgive that energy. But here I am trying to fit in. I turned to drugs, still trying to fit in, find a couple of friends. And I didn't realize the amount of betrayal that these people were doing behind my back. Even my friends were having betrayal behind my back. And I was like, okay, I basically just wanted to get into sales. I just wanted to get out of high school. I started making money. I started selling cars. So I felt like I was, pretty big, like tough shit here. 23, walking into school with a suit on, trying to take college. I was like, I don't need to be here. My cell phone's going off the hook. I got to get back to my deals. Why am I going to school to learn how to make the money I'm making right now? Like my mindset was really like to be desired for. and and then I ended up bouncing around jobs more times than a basketball gets dribbled up the court. Like I just went job, 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 fired, job, fired, job, quit, promoted, fired, quit, promoted, fired. Like that was it. I just basically I was a whiz at the interview. I lost my steam, and I kept on getting fired. And some years I wouldn't work anything, and if I did work, it'd be like 3 or 4 jobs in that year. At the end of the year, when they send you your taxes and stuff, I'd always have to get like 3 or 4 different slips from my different employers. I just couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why can't I get a job? And just like, I wanted to go to school, couldn't do it. I wanted to get into sales, couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, couldn't do it. And I basically went and jumped in from food to retail to cars to finances, door-to-door sales, insurance, like tech support, like everything basically showed up and was like, I couldn't do any of it. And it was nuts because I was just basically bouncing around life, like job after job, feeling lifeless. And I finally found the, and all the while, trying to find a relationship. I wanted to be a young dad. I like basically wanted to say, you wanted to find the one that was like my lifelong dream to get married young, have kids young. So here I am 24, 25, 26, and like the dream's not happening. And I'm kind of like giving up on myself a little bit. So I'm like, I'm just gonna try to find a job and call it a day. I went to go work for one of the biggest companies. I wanted to go for the big companies because it's the big companies are opportunity for growth. You can get into corporate, you can keep moving up the ladder. That was my best strategy. I was like, let me just I get in and then work the angle and make sure I work this political game. And I realized that I wasn't very popular. Again, people were making fun of me. Some superiors were just, they didn't want any part of it. But now I was crushing it. I was crushing records. I was top sales. I was doing things inside of my job and I was doing good. I got promoted again. I'm like, all right, cool, I found it. I was innovating. Now I was changing the game. I was doing new things. And you don't do that in a corporate world. You don't innovate. You don't take it like it's your own business, even though that was one of their core beliefs, was that run this business like it's your own. I'm like, okay, cool. My parents are business owners. I'm kind of down with that. So I basically started to, run in the business like it was my own. And then my managers were like, you don't even know what's going on in your department. This kid's just running free like a cowboy. And so they fired me. And I'm like, wait a second, top sales, the whole company. And I'm like trying to figure out like, I just can't figure it out. And I'm like, am I going to keep saying this my whole life? And it was like 2013 now. And I'm like, that's it. I give up. This is the last business. This is the last thing you do before you go completely crazy. Join a network marketing business. I enjoy a pyramid scheme. And I hated those things. And this is probably why my success was stunted, because I was one of those guys who was like, I can't stand it when people do this to each other. They just sell a product so you can sell a business. It didn't make any sense to me. So then when I did this, I was like, okay, the reason why I'm doing this is because my mentor was, my friend of mine was doing this as well. So I was like he had the success. So I was like, I'm gonna follow in your footsteps. All right. And looks like Jamie and Sally are having a heart war on my Go Live here. If you guys want to like just calm your bag there. Is having a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys so much for that. So much love. So my friend was having success, and because he was having success, I was like, sure, I'm in. And that was the only reason why. Okay, so it was the only reason why. Otherwise, I would have just been like, no, I'm not interested. I'm not going to be able to do this. And because he led me into this path, I was like done with jobs. I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to pick myself up and start doing something for myself because I realized I wasn't safe. Even if I was doing good in a job, it still wasn't enough to create value in my life. So I wanted to do something a bit more and said, I'm going to take it into my own hands and get into business. and it was at like late in 2013 where I found and then I ended up meeting this numerologist who I was just like, you know what? By this time I was already into Reiki. I got my level 1, my level 2, as if that's supposed to mean something. I don't practice Reiki. I have the energy in my hands, and I was very sensitive to esoterics. So I needed to do something in order to learn the spiritual mechanics around body healing and energy working, because I was super intuitive, and I kind of figured this out by now because I was good at sales at some places and insubordinate in others. So I basically led me back to numerology, and then things started to click one at a time. Things started to click, and it wasn't without everything coming out. I got fired. I got kicked out of my house. My girlfriend broke up with me. I came clean about my addictions. I basically started telling everybody, started speaking about it. And it was like, dude, are you going crazy? I'm like, I think I went crazy. I realized that my addictions were holding me back, and I wasn't able to connect to the next level of success in my life if I didn't come clean and share with people about the journey that I've been through. I felt like a fraud, a fake, some sort of like, like just a song and dance, smoke and mirrors. I had to come clean with myself. And then that's when my power really started to come forth, because I started helping people, being like, look, street cred, I know where you've been. I know I've been
Yeah.
there too. I know what it's like to fail repeatedly. You still got, you still have me being watching you, being like, I know that you can do something with your life. So I basically went through the ringer, and like many times was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be alive anymore. I was too afraid to kill myself. I was too afraid to commit to suicide, because I was like, I was a wuss. I was like afraid. But I'm like, no, my story was that I'm just gonna sit here and suffer on this planet. Like, I don't deserve even the peace of death. Like, I'm supposed to suffer. And it was crazy, because that was the story I was like eating and telling myself. It was crazy, unbelievable. Man, that went real really
What year
quick.
was that? How long ago was that time of your life?
Well, we're looking at around like 2013, 2014, up until 2015, when things were really starting to like escalate. And then around the
Mm.
2015 area was when I like gained the power to get out on my own and do things and actually help people and get somewhere, and start using my story and my hiding my story as a PowerPoint to the reason why I was going to be successful, because I wanted to help others go through that and succeed. There were people like me, misunderstood, that need to be their own boss. And it wasn't until a year and a half into my business that things started to really turn around. But it was still that learning curve, right? Once you take a new name, you got to kind of deal with the shift in that area.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I guess even as you said, a lot of stuff is getting cleared. A lot of stuff is having to just purge itself out for you to kind of even realize you got some of this stuff, and sharing your story. But how, what was it, the stuff that helped pull you through that? Like, was there something you turned to? Was there like a teacher or a mentor or a person, or just sitting with yourself? What was the stuff that actually gave you the turning point to go, you know what, I'm done with that life?
Uh, I'd like to think there was a catalyst event. I was um, I was dating someone, and when I was dating this person, I noticed that I wasn't using drugs. It was like a couple weeks in, and I like, hey, I haven't had the urge. And I felt like I turned to drugs as painkillers to keep me going and to keep me sedated enough to like deal with this pain that I was feeling in my life and my soul. And then I turned to drugs, and I turned to acceptance from others. I needed people to approve of me in order to feel good about myself. Super dangerous road, such a dangerous road. And so I basically got into a relationship, and I noticed I wasn't using drugs anymore. So I was like, I told her, and I'm like, just wanted to let you know, like, something about me. We're getting, we like each other, and I'm no longer using drugs anymore. And it was crazy, because you in my life has inspired me to not do that anymore. And she was like, "Oh my God, you do drugs? I got to get out of here." And I was like, "No, no, I'm not, right? Like, I'm not doing it anymore." She's like, "No, that's volatile. You can't just say you're not doing drugs anymore." And I'm like, looking back, hindsight's 2020. I'm like, I get you, I get that. And so she ran for the hills and was like, "Nope, sorry, I gotta go." At the same time, I got fired from my job, and like, I was like, okay, So I was like, I because I had gone into business and I quickly landed another job really quickly just to like bounce off while I was doing my own business. But I didn't completely leave the employment world. So I got fired from my job, wrongfully dismissed, and it was such a I don't even want to go into how like I got screwed over, but it was a blessing in disguise. So I was getting fired from my job. My girlfriend broke up with me, and that same month I was fighting with my parents because they wouldn't let me bring my girlfriend to the house. I'm like, what's wrong with her? It's like, oh, nothing. Well, she can't. You can't just bring a random person into my home. And I'm like, well, she's got no place to stay there. There, there's people staying over at her house, and her roommates asked her to leave for a couple of days. Like, I'm not just gonna kick her out on the streets. Like, she's technically homeless for a few days. And like, I'm her boyfriend. Like, of course, I'm gonna offer her. We have a guest room. Like, what's the big deal? I was super insulted, and my mom was just like, "No, you're not bringing this weird, strange creature into my home." And so I was like, "Okay," super insulted. So I was like, "I'm moving out." So I was moving out. Quit. My job left me. My girlfriend left me, and here I am sitting like, "Oh shit." Like what? And I'm like, okay. And because here's the reality that was going through my head. If if who I truly am is going to repel people, I need to be straight up honest with who I am before it gets too far. And that means that if I want the support of my family, if I want the support of my cousins, if I want the support of my peers, if I want the support of my audience, I need to tell people about the addictions that I've been battling and facing. So I decided to come out to the world and was like, you know what? So what? I've been smoking a lot of weed. What you guys don't know about me is I've been doing a lot of cocaine. I've been doing a lot of mushrooms, a lot of ecstasy, MDMA by myself in my room, not partying. I wasn't about the party lifestyle. I was about the sedation lifestyle, trying to quell the pain. But if you start feeding yourself chemicals that your body no longer produces, you start to get into a really negative situation where your body's being ripped apart by the negative things that you're putting in it. So I was just like a feasting ground for negative soul energy. It was nuts. I felt like I just had like my dragon had me on a leash and I was just his little bitch. And I was just like, oh no, nobody knows when I was feeding my habits by myself. So I was like super high. And oh, the girl that I was in gave me a bunch of acid to like to send me off on my journey. She's like, this will straighten you out. I'm like, sweet acid. I couldn't afford drugs, so let's just turn to LSD. And like, some of the bigger guys in the universe, like Nobel Prize winners, they've done it. The guy who discovered DNA, he did it. So there's like a spiritual merit, right? I was validating my spiritual journey by the drugs I was doing. And so I did it. And here I am high as hell. And I went into my parents' room and I'm like, guys, I got a horrible little confession to make for you. And they're just like, uh-oh. So I'm like, well, I got fired. I'm still moving out because right now they're like, you're moving out with a strange girl. You just met her. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to go all in, right? I'm going all in. I'm going to move out. And so I was like, all right, I'm moving out. I've had a lethal addiction to about $100 worth of blow every 3 or 4 days for the last like year and a half. Now you guys haven't noticed anything or seen anything. I was like, I knew something was up with you. She starts crying. I'm like, I know, and I'm high right now. I'm like, I got fired from my job, and they're just like, oh god, like they're freaking out. Like this is like just as big, if not even bigger, than me showing up with like a $5,000 water machine. They're like, you did what? You just got fired and you bought a business. So basically, every time I get fired, I do something pretty stupid. Okay. So basically, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come clean to you guys. I'm telling you the whole dirty list laundry, and it felt really good. My dad was like, so you're going? And my mom's like, no, we can't let him go like this, not in this condition. And my dad's like, get out, stop being here, get away from us. Like, you need to go and stop living in my shadow. And like, it was funny because he was giving me shit because of all this, but he was the actually only one supporting me. Whereas my mom wasn't giving me heck, but she didn't want to let me go now. And I'm like 31 here. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Like, this is not gonna happen. This is like, 2015 now, something like that, 2015. And I'm like leaving to go move into this place, and now I'm moving in by myself. I can't afford the rent by myself, and I'm just like, this is just brutal. So I ended up getting another job, working at a call center doing taxi, like call dispatch. And it's a far fall from like living at a multi-million-dollar penthouse downtown Vancouver, like prime location, selling this water stuff, having my business, being an entrepreneur, doing go lives, to getting fired, trapped on drugs, now stuck in a negative situation. I'm in a house I don't want to be in with people I don't really like. I was basically just like removing myself from everyone. But this catalyst opened me up to think, I need to speak about this. I need to speak about, I'm going to write books about this. And the clouds parted for a minute, thinking, dude, you're going to be, now that you've let go of this, now you're going to get a chance to meet the woman of your life. Now you're going to chance to have the business of design, of desire, all of this stuff. And it slowly started to click. So for a few months, I was sitting there licking my wounds, being like, nobody wants me. I don't even want me. I was working at a taxi. I was working at a taxi place, and we have these small little sheets of paper. There's a little notepads that are like this, like a small little hole on it, and I would just doodle on them. I was basically just make little doodles because I love drawing, right? I would make little doodles sitting there 4 in the morning, like nothing's happening, and then suddenly some drunk kid's like, "Oh, gonna get a taxi," and I'm like, "Yeah, coming up, cool. What's your address, Kate? We'll see you in a few minutes. Bye." And my calls were less than 30 seconds, and this is basically what I was doing. I was like a high-powered vending machine, and then I was like telling people, I'm like, we have an app. There's an app. You can book your taxi through an app. And my coworker was like, "Are you stupid? Why are you doing it? You're putting us out of a job." I'm like, "There's a job for this? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this should be an operator. Like, there's a reason why Ubers are taking over." And everyone was like, "Oh, you're so not popular here." Because here I am bringing them my water. I'm bringing numerology to them. And they're just like, "Shut up and just do your job." And I'm like, "I can't." So I'm drawing stuff like this. And like, I keep this picture because it was a love note that I made to myself. It says, Batman lost his parents at age 6. Spider-Man was a school nerd. He was bullied in high school. Iron Man was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Venom was a parasite alien. It doesn't matter where you come from. It only matters where you go. So be your own superhero. That's what I wrote to myself as a way of like keeping myself in the game. Like I always knew somewhere deep down, I just couldn't give up for some reason. And, a couple months later, I ended up getting hired at a call center for a friend of mine who was also in my business. He's like, "Dude, I need someone like you. Can you come and sell for me?" So I was like, "Sure." So I started to, and around this time, I had a dream. I had a dream about this Filipino woman kissing me on a beach. And it was like more than a dream. It was like a message from God to be like, calm your tits, just relax for a minute. These things are gonna happen for you. You just gotta relax. Okay? Like, look, here's a dream. And I'm like, I woke up and I'm like, huh, cool. So I basically started looking for a Filipino woman who wanted to kiss me on a beach. And just trying to fulfill that. There you go. Sally gives me some hearts. She's like, she knows the deal. Because next year I got hired at this call center. I started making a couple $100 a day. I'm like, hey, this isn't bad. I started charging for my numerology. Someone put in the brain was like, why are you doing that for free? Like, why don't you start up your consulting, your coaching firm, your business, and help people? So I'm like, sweet, cool, I did it. And so when I got home, I would be on the computer for like 4 or 5 hours doing all reports. And then I started noticing I was making more in a 4 hour, 5 hour period than I was making in 3 days at work. And it started to leverage my time out where I started to work more and more and more in my numerology business. Then comes in December. This is now December. This is a couple of years now later, when it was like in December 2017 now. So I basically was like, I went on Plenty of Fish dating profile or dating app, and I saw Sally. I met Sally online, and she had 3 kids. And I was like, you got to be crazy enough to want to still date after you've had 3 kids. And even myself, I was like, well, you got to be crazy enough to want to hit on a girl with mama who's got 3 babies, like toddlers, and a baby who's still on the boob. And she was like an hour and a half ferry and another hour and a half drive away from me. So I thought, this is safe, and I could start affording myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything here. Why don't I just go out and meet this lady? And lo and behold, I got this feeling from her that she was something spectacular, right? So I was like, okay. So I did her numerology, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. If my client showed me this, I would be like, you two need to be together. There's something there. So I looked at her chart, and I'm like, I have to take my own advice. I got to go be with this girl. And then I bugged another one of my friends who has been a spiritual narrator to my life ever since I met this woman. She's been on point. Her social media is like killing me softly from Lauren Hill, Fuji's here. Like, I was like, you're literally reading my life as if you know it. I'm like, get out of my heart. And so I went to her. I'm like, what's the deal? Can you help me out with this? I started hiring people, coaches, spiritual people, to help me unblock some of the negative past life stuff that was happening to me, what have you. And my friend was a friend of mine, Roy Briscoe, was like, he's in our community. He's like, he basically uh, has a consultation with you to remove your energy. Like, dude, you're blind to love. You can't see it. You can't see it at all. So as soon as he removed it, that night I had a conversation with Sally, and then the next couple of days I had a conversation with Nilea, a friend of mine, my spiritualist, and she's like, "This is your love soulmate. Like, this is the one you're supposed to be with." I'm like, "You can't just say that to me. You don't just say that to me." And so I was like hooked. I met her kids. I was hooked. Met her family. I was hooked. I kept coming back. And I said, you know what, maybe about 6 months I'll move in. And about 6 weeks later, I packed up all my stuff and I was basically moved to the island, like gave it all up. And even my boss was like, we'll let you work from an internet connection. You don't have to come to the office. We could share up a seat. You just go there and do your magic from the phone at home. So I was like, okay. And I still have my headset. I don't use it though. I still have it as a reminder. And I was like, actually, I think that's a lame excuse. I think I might just be like a hoarder. But anyway, so I have the headset, and I never took a call. My business started to fly. My life started to fly. It was January. I kept on going out to theater. February is like, I'm gonna plan a super nice Valentine's for her, and then February 21st, I had moved to the island. March 3rd, we conceived. Okay, so we basically now my son, like, this is the dream of my soul. And my son, like, I'm gonna have a son. This is the woman from my dreams. And like and it was a straight black hair. It was literally her. And I was like, wow, this is so cool to live this vision. I know I'm passing through the story because this is where it starts to get good. So maybe I might pause here for a minute and we can go back to start talking about some of the negative stuff.
No, I think no, keep going. I think it's fascinating. So I think just run with what feels in your heart that you just want to let out.
So, okay, cool. So, we decided to have a baby, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, I wanted two of my own, and she got three of her own. So I'm like, 5 kids, that's a big deal. So me and my dog, we moved to the island, and then we conceived in March, and then after that, we took a road trip with the kids from Vancouver Island, Canada, like 24-hour road trip, 24-hour drive. So it was like a 3-day trip to Vegas with 3 kids in a car and a pregnant woman. I was brave, not sure what I was thinking. and and then we come back and then we went to Arizona. We went to and while we were in Arizona, my little dog got run over. It was crazy. It was nuts but sad. She was going to go for a communications course. Then in the summer, I came out to the Freedom Blueprint, spoke for at that time the Freedom team, and it was crazy. It was powerful. I was building my business, having 5-figure months. I was doing numerology for people. I was coaching businesses. Got a chance to work with all the top leaders. Like, you look at the collective right now, 90% of the 6A's and the top leaders, you notice they all got the letters in their name. They all got them, and you're like, this seems to be a thing in the water. Why does everybody have the letter in their name? It's because they all get a chance to work with me. I was so super blessed to be able to be there and put that in there for everyone and be that for them. But I turned into a global speaker. I turned into a self-employed. Like, this is my money making space. I left jobs. I left the mainland. Started building a family. It was unbelievable. Then my son comes to the earth in November 17th, and it was crazy because there's complications at birth, and Sally was a champion. She just did it, and she absolutely was like, just set the bar and set the tone. And since then, it's been unbelievable. We got engaged. I spent more on a car than I ever made in an entire year of working. I started building my own site, started building my own app. It's been unbelievable the things that we're doing. We're planning retreats, we're planning events. I'm doing group sessions now. I work with entire teams all at once. I get interviewed like every other day. Someone's like, "Hey, let's do a go live." I'm like, please, the more content, the better. This technology that my life got built around, numerology, it changed my life. I had a name that was about self-worth, like diminishing, no communication, negative relationship. All of the good stuff of me was given away, and all of the good stuff for me was not for me anymore. It was all given away to other places, other pieces, and I wasn't able to actualize on what I needed for me. I was just taking care of everyone else. I pumped up my name, like what is F is a 6 number. So I pumped it up 6 stages. And from there, I started to have purposeful communication. Was able to speak about my addiction and speak about the things that was bugging me. I got into a bigger place to think, how am I supposed to have the woman of my life, the kid of the kid in my of my family, have a family, children, if I was secretly hiding a drug addiction or I was secretly going through, like, what would my kid do if he's like, Dad, what the hell is this? And he pulls out a small bag of powder. I was like, oh my, I was thinking to myself, what a horror. That would be a nightmare to think that that would be me. I wouldn't be able to stand myself or look at myself in the mirror. So I was a motivation for me to give it all up because I knew one day I wanted to have a family. And if this girl's breaking up with me after I told her I'm not doing it anymore, I had to come clean and tell people. Otherwise, it was always going to hold power over me. So for a certain bit of my life, I was what's the word here? I was like telling people about my addiction to feel good, so that I could get people to be like, "Oh, are you okay? Oh, you've done so well, and you've done so good." And now I'm at that point where it's like I need to tell people so that they understand that there's support available and that we're not alone and that we're just self-medicating. But it's turned into me being able to speak at that platform with a large level of integrity. And to now I'm looking at writing books. I want to do actual physical destination events where we have people like yogis, okay, like Reiki artists and healers, emotional, spiritual healers, numerology like myself, and combined to make a really powerful event for people. So my brain is thinking, and it's absolutely getting to the next level now. But it's just unbelievable, the story, because this is like 4 5 years in the making since it got interesting. Before then, it was just like, oh, he's written off. He's not going to amount to anything. And I didn't even want to go out and see my friends. Like, I didn't even want to be a part of anyone because I was embarrassed to show up, only to be itching to get out or go to the bathroom and do a couple of rails real quick, or just leave and just be like, oh, sorry, I got to go. I got an early morning tomorrow, and like fake my way into just being in by myself, and then just get home by myself and be like, ah, finally, I'm by myself now. I can just enjoy my stuff and basically be up until like 4 5 6 in the morning doing ungodly things, basically just throwing my life away piece by piece and just waiting, I guess, in the long run until I got to that point where I could activate so I could actually truly step into the power to really help people in the world. Like, it's tough. I know it's tough. I've talked to moms who are like dealing with their children in addiction. I'm like, look, I'm living proof that we can get out of this. So don't give up. Don't give up hope on them. And they are lucky to have you, even though these are the same kids that are stealing from their parents and screw you, mom, and F you, and I hate you, and this and that. And they're angry, right? And so they do these truly damaging or lost something really, really bad. But yeah, it was quite an amazing journey to get to this clearing. Because now I'm like, I'm gonna climb to the next mountain now. Now that I've got my son, I have my family, I've got kids, I got my wife, I've got this business, I've got a legion of people, I've got an audience, I've got content, I've got a site, I've got all of this stuff all in the working, that it makes me feel like nothing can stop me now. And then I look back, I'm like, all of my dreams, all of my goals, everything that I set on my list has come to pass. I have all the video games I want, all the computers I want, I have the house I want, I have no job, I have all the kids I want, more kids that I want, I have the wife that I want, I have the business that I want, like everything. I got the car that I want, I got the ring for my wife that I wanted to get, literally every single thing that I had on my list. And I look back and I'm like, well, I should have dreamed a lot bigger, but this time around, I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm going to, and that's why I'm saying these big things and I'm speaking power and clarity to them, because I'm like, books, events, retreats, working with influencers, helping create products for people, training the new influencer age, the new people, like the new entrepreneurs, they need a hand, and I'm here to lend that and to work with them. So it's a wonderful feeling to think I'm gonna do a lot of really cool stuff, and it's only getting hot. Like, it's been a few years, and to think I'm still only just getting started. I did my astrology. Someone did a soul session for me, and she's like, Have you ever read natal charts by any chance? Like, do you know that kind of thing? If you've
No,
no,
not at
okay.
all. Not at
So
all.
if you look at a chart, right? Like when you look at someone's astrology, apparently shapes like this are a big deal, where all the planets line up for your birthday, and it looks really cool. And I'm like, oh, so basically this means I'm like spiritually powerful. I'm like, hey, well, it says it on the sheet. I mean, I don't know, but the fact is that like I've been awakened to a purpose, that I've been brought to this planet to help people find themselves, to help people find clarity within them. And I had to get wrung through the washer in order to have my own story clean. Otherwise, I would be a fake, a fraud, a liar, and someone who'd just be a con artist speaking on all this guru stuff. And then in the background, doing things to myself that was like misery. I had to clean all of that up. So it's been a really powerful journey. Thank you so much for letting me share that. Like,
Oh,
that was so super powerful. Thank you.
no, no, it's awesome to hear. And I think, there's so much to it. Like, there's so many different ways to kind of take it, because there's so many elements, right? You've got, every area of your life that's gone through its own little journey and evolution and, like movement to a, higher ground. I guess if you had to think of like, one thing that you would say was, like, what's been the greatest thing, having gone through all of what you've gone through, that you kind of look back and reflect on and go, what's the best thing that's come out of it, besides the business and, creating, what you were able to and are, and, certainly the vision is there and it's a strong vision, but what's been, the greatest blessing through it all?
I believe it's hard to pick one, because like what you said, all of that stuff really shows up. And then to look back, to think I'm actually doing something for the world, one soul at a time. And I like to think that this whole multiverse theory, that there's like a bunch of different existences and different universes, that's your own personal universe that you have within you, your own sacred entry point into the spiritual world. That's your universe. So for me to affect someone's universe, give them clarity, closure, open them up to power inside of their life, made me feel like I was going to repay for all of the damage that I had done to myself and others, the amount of times I've done stupid things to people or myself, that this was a chance for me to make good on that, and that I was actually going to get God's approval, like the creator of the universe, to be like, good job. Like, wow, you went through it, and you actually helped people, and you gave clarity, you helped inspire a lot of business. And for me, that was one of the biggest values that I pulled from it, was that finally there was some use for me. And I wasn't just gonna like scratch my head being like, well, I'm running out of companies to work for until I have to go back to school and learn a new trade. And now this final trade, entrepreneurism, speaking well into others, it made me feel like I'm a light worker. Like I'm part of the people, the revolution of change, the elevation of vibration, that escalation of it, the raising of the global vibe, that I get a chance to be a part of that, quite literally raising the vibration of someone's actual literal name, taking it from a to like a soaring version of themselves. For me, I'm in awe, because it's cool to be like, oh great, Bobby does numerology. Wait for it. He's gonna sell you something. I'm like, I get it. I work with people. It's a business. But on the other side of it, I'm like, changing the trajectory of someone's life is a very, very serious thing. Like, you don't play around with that. If you don't know what you're doing, you're in trouble. You can't just like, oh, quickly here, do this and that. You have to really understand what someone's going through. And I've worked with thousands of people. Getting inside of their soul and being invited is the most sacred space I've ever been invited to in my whole life. And I make a point of recognizing the like how much that means to me, that this person would bless my family with a few shillings so that I would be entered into the most inner holy of holy places inside someone, which is to help them map out their own experience, that they've been living in this, meat sack thing, this body earth robot, where our souls come to pilot. you know, to give you an instruction manual around that, oh man, it's one of the most powerful feelings ever. And I don't ever take it for granted. I can never, never, ever. Because last time I took stuff for granted, yoink, everything got ripped away from me. It's like, well, you've been doing drugs, you've been doing this and that. Like every job you have is gonna get taken from you. So yeah, for me to really find that clarity now, makes me feel so super powerful.
Awesome, awesome. And again, that's brilliant. And obviously hearing you speak from the heart and the passion behind it and the intent and the ethics and the integrity and the responsibility that you take, and as you said, not taking it for granted, you know, that's gold in itself. So maybe we'll step into that. So, you know, there will be, actually, I can already see people that are watching that may not know what it is that you do. And I can certainly, you know, like without sort of not acknowledging all the stuff that you've shared about your past and the challenges, and you know, you've had to obviously go on that journey. So there's a reason you went on that journey. There's a reason why you were put on this earth to experience all the highs and the lows and the disappointments and the setbacks and the challenges and the rock bottoms and the, you know, all the beautiful and the not beautiful. So you know, acknowledging all of that, it would be great now to really understand what it is that numerology can do for people, because you know, I myself, and I can see already people that are watching, may not understand and exactly what it is when you say I can look at your name or your chart, and really that could be a turning point in somebody's life. I mean, that's pretty strong statement and a pretty big claim, but it'd be great to understand you know, how it works and the significance of what you're saying and the understanding. So do you want to take us through like the process, or take us through what really numerology is, you know, about?
Okay, sure. So I'll do both if you'll have me. The first thing I'll do is I'll
Yeah, go
explain you
for
what
it.
it's all about, and the numbers 1 through 9 are like A to Z, right? They're single digit markers to represent value, worth, or something. So if you get letters, you put A for apple or B for banana, and you start putting different letters together to materialize the vibration. You're like, I've had an apple before. I know what you mean when you say apple. You're not going to show up with an orange. You're going to say apple, apple, right? Like I get it, right? And then unless you're eating one of those Japanese apple pears and you're like, I don't know what this is. It looks like it tastes like everything. But this is like what letters are. So we have language. The same thing with numbers. You have one, there's only one. You have two, okay, now we have two things. Three, you have three things. Like we understand the mathematical vibration of, oh, there's one flower, two flower, there's three flower, there's two souls here, right? We're watching two people. So there's like an unconscious thing that the brain does. I've got 5 fingers. We don't even count. Well, that's right. I have 10, or like I've got 10 toes as well. So we start to like they become very muted to us. We don't unless you're looking at your clock, your calendar, your weight, or your bank account, your address, right? There are certain your telephone number. There are certain places where numbers exist naturally, and then there are certain places where you don't quite expect them to exist. Like your name, right? And it's weird. So I'm going to do a quick rundown. I'll do a quick imagine that you have like, you know, you're a painter and you got your palette, right? And you got different colors. You got different paints. You know, colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet. There's 7 colors, whatever, 8 colors, whatever it is. Let's even just the basic colors. There's only a few of them. And then you get like these devices, right? You got this like you know, back in the day in the 60s and the 70s, whenever it was that color came to TV. Before color came to TV, there was only black and white, and there was only 2 colors on your screen. Then they showed up Technicolor, and oh my God, look, we could put color on TV, and their technology raised itself. Then you had things like, you know, computers coming out with 16 million colors or 32 megapixels, and it was like millions and millions of colors that all show up based on these original hues, these original vibrations, and we liken them to the chakras, the field of your energy. Red would be for your root, all the way up to the indigos and the violets being for your crown. So you take that same rainbow and you apply it now to the numbers. Now, instead of using colors, we're going to use characteristics. So 1, leader, independence, the ego, the sense of self, the understanding of one, me, myself, and I. Then the 2, the partner, the take care of other, the diplomat, the win-win, the one who wants to work with people. The 2 stands for relationship and partnership. I just want to be with you. I just want to be with that person, right? Like that 2 comes out. Then the 3, when 2 come together, they make a third, the baby. This is the entry point into love, into joy, into childhood, creativity, artistry. If you have 3s in your chart, or if you have 3s in your name, we'll get to that in a minute, you would show up with fun-loving, adorable, young, just sweetheart. My Sally is born on the 3rd, right? Okay, so we have energy inside of that. Then we see the 4, analytical. We see 4, we see a square, we see 4 legs to a table. Things are going to be even. They're going to be logical. They're going to have a sense of order to them, like a system is in place to lay down the foundation. Then we see 5 for chaos, fighter, warrior, nomad, gypsy heart, the adventurer, the one who wants to fight someone, the one who wants to actually stand up for people. They're not afraid to say what's up. They may skip class and just cram for the test. This 5 shows up as a passion energy. I want to travel. I don't want to sit in one spot. I got ADD. I want to go out there and do stuff. And that 5 wants to be a very lively energy, makes for really good fighters and people you don't want to fight with, and really strong, passionate, active people. Then you see the 6. This is balance. This is the effect of family and parenthood, leadership, communication, long-term love. Now we're looking at wealth in its more mature form. We see 6 as a balancer effect. What are the numbers I work with? That helps you to actually have something that lasts. So when you have a positive 6, it's good. The negative 6 will sacrifice the self. Then we have the 7, intuitive, holy, connected, spiritual. This understanding of connected to God, or connected to source, connected to nature. Sometimes you have to lose signal to find connection. The 7s will feel really glad when their cell phone doesn't work anymore. And they're like, I just need to get away from everything. Or they're looking at the ducks being like, you guys get me. The duck's like, meh, meh, meh. And like they can't even communicate with people because they're sensitive to their energy and they're connected inward. There's a lot of the 7 energy. You being a yogi is going to have this vibration inside of you, like naturally. And I do feel it because I'm liking how your energy is. I'm able to amplify from it. Okay, so sometimes I do a go live and it's like, so what you want to talk about? And like it was kind of awkward, but in this case, I'm feeling like invited. I'm feeling like, here, use this. So this 7 energy is a lot enough to amplify energy inside of others, and they're great listeners, very present, but they may not say everything. They're just not going to say anything about it. They just want to just kind of be connected and disconnected at the same time. Then the 8 shows up as law of attraction. This is the reason why I learned numerology, business numerology. Does your name speak wealth? Do you inspire others to know you, like you, trust you, based on what they first see and hear and feel about you right from the get-go? Does it work, or does it go to the opposite side, like in my case, where you disassociate from the self, you chase the high, and you just don't care about this world, so you're just going to dumb yourself down until who knows, God knows when. And that was the feeling of the negative 8. But large level of business, mature level of wealth, law of attraction. Bosses are showing up with 8s. Then you see 9s, which are global impact, cosmic connection, humanitarian, philanthropy, the people who care a lot for others, super selfless. And we come back down to the beginning, and then mastery numbers 11, 22, 33. There's more deeper, higher level consciousness, spiritual stuff at that level. But when you go from 1, ego, sense of self, to the 9, selfless, no one thing, all things, universal containment, you see all of the ingredients that show up. These are the colors. Now you have about, let's say you changed your name. This isn't the name you're born with. You got about 40 different numbers that are just scattered through the garden of your being. You open the gates to your birthday. You see the name you're born with. You see the name you use today. This feeling shows up to start painting you with all of these different pieces. Oh, let's put some leadership here. Oh, let's put some spirituality here. Oh, here's where she wants to be an entrepreneur. Oh, here's where she can't get past this. Or here's where she dealt with this as a kid. And it's phenomenal. I have, oh, for anybody who's, I'm
Oh,
just
did you
gonna
do
drop.
mine?
If you want to, I can.
Go for it. Yeah, why
Okay.
not? Like, if
So,
I'm
sure.
open to
So
it,
I just
go
wanted
for
to
it.
quickly show you guys this because I'm putting all of my testimonials together, and you wouldn't believe me if I didn't tell you. But these are people who are all like, dude, you nailed it. Oh my god! If you, the amount of times someone says he talked to me like he knew me better than I knew myself, I'm like, ooh, okay. So if you want, what we'll do is we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this live. If you're feeling brave.
Okay. Okay, let's do
Okay,
it.
so it's all good. Deep breath. I know it's kind of crazy. You're gonna be like, what's he gonna say? We're figuring this out. What month were you born in?
November
Okay, cool. So what day were you born?
8.
No, okay, cool, nice. I like this. All right, so spiritually connected, but definitely business minded too. I like it. And then
Yeah.
what year?
1979.
1979. Okay, so we're gonna add this all up together. This is a good looking chart. And we have 8 plus 8 is gonna be 16, 1 plus 6 is 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's life path 9. This is intense. This is intense. This is only a piece. Okay, so when I
Oh,
and then you're looking like, so how does it all work? So what do you do? So inside of a session, I thank you very much for letting me do this. Very much and grateful, grateful, very much in gratitude for what you're doing here and for you letting me do this for your audience. Is what we're looking at. It's your birthday, and right, the whatever it is. You said it. 1979,
I
8th
did.
of November.
Yep.
So this is like the environment. Okay, so this is like the walls in my house. Okay, so you see the walls in my behind me, and then on top of it you see your name. Okay, on top of it you see your name. These are posters, lights, fixtures, different pieces that are on the table, the different things you decorate your life space with. It's going to be the names that you use, the way that you identify into the world, the vibrations you take with you. We're not going to do that right now. I'm not going to go that far unless you really want me to. That's super personal. But these 4 numbers are the original places in your life that set the stage. So when we do a numerology session, the first chunk of this is to discuss your 9 life path. You have a giant heart. And you're connected to the cosmos. This is going to be something that channels energy and that pulls it in like you're at a buffet table. Like you're just like going across the world doing whatever you need to do. You're connecting to other cultures. You're connecting to the inner part of yourself, the part of you beyond time, the part of you beyond self. You're not going to get in your own way. Your challenge would be finding your way. If your names are not going to help, it would be more to the opposite. That your ego is so small that it's diminishing you as a being because you can't be around certain energies. You're spiritually, energetically sensitive. Like you're gonna have to
That's
get
so
away
true.
from
That's
people
so true.
sometime. Sorry,
That's so true. It's exactly that. 100%.
but you care a lot.
You're not
Like if
surprised.
someone, if there's a child crying, there's an animal in danger. If someone needs help, you're like, I gotta go. And that feeling of you wanting to save someone is there. And we appreciate you for this. Being this 9 is a life of a master. This is a life that you've chosen to have extraordinary emotional highs and lows, to feel the pains of others as if it's your own. The universe is like a walking voodoo doll for you. And you're just like, it's almost like you must learn how to separate yourself and build that boundary. Otherwise, you may never have amounted to what you've been able to do so far. And I know you're only getting warmed up as well, but the reality is that is why you are as spiritually connected as you are. Even my friend was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "I don't know her yet. I haven't done her numbers. She just invited me in and would said, "Hey, let's do this thing." And I'm like, "I'm feeling." He's like, "Yeah, her energy seems really interesting." And I'm like, "Huh." So 9 stands for cosmos, universe, infinitism. So you can connect your meditations are astral, okay? Like you can go outside of your body into another planet almost. Like it's very cool what
I
you can
have.
do.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, I have,
I
yeah,
have.
yeah. No, I go, and then but you can also go into someone else's timeline. So if you're connected to someone and you need to do your spiritual work, you can go into their timeline and do a very shaman thing for them, which is to journey through the astral. First number 9. Then we see 11. This is an angel number, and you're like, oh, you're gonna be my 11, episode. You can be as cool this whole 11 thing. Well, you had spent 27 years of your life as a child in this spiritually expansive, higher level of numbers. Like, remember we were talking about mastery numbers? After 9 is 11, then 22, 33, 44, and the double numbers come up. And so in your case, your first 27 years of your life, cosmic, angel. This is a tough thing. This is difficulty in relationships, like trouble in partnerships, whether it be siblings, parents,
Yes,
family, people who
yes,
don't accept you, maybe you don't accept society, whatever shows up, that you're speaking for something more at the expense of yourself. So you give quite a bit of you out to others before you ever consider you like, oh my God, how distasteful that you could be selfish. No, you have to. That's a different topic. But the reality is, the first 27 years of your life, you're a woman of service, spiritual service. So it's nice to see that you found a very deep level of spirituality in your being. So it's clear in your energy that you've gone that path and that you've actualized on it. Otherwise, we don't know where this could have taken you or where you could have been. But that value is to say, hey, you probably got some good looking numbers in your name that we see in that center. But the first 27 years of your life is your month. Then an interesting thing happens. You're born on an 8 day and you're born in an 8 year. When we're looking at your path, we split this up into month, day, and year. In your case, month, day, and year are both the same number. So I get a switch at 27 and I get a switch at 55. You get a switch at 27 and that's it. That's it. You are no longer going to move anymore. Like you don't get that anymore. Instead, you went from 911, which is an emergency number in North America. Like you will run to the aid of whoever needs you. Like as I gotta go. Like the universe is calling. You're one outfit short of being the next Avenger inside of Marvel movies. Like this is like I'm gonna help people, and that pride in doing things for others at the expense of myself. No worries. I'm just a spiritual being living a human experience. Like this is like tough to live like this. Okay, and you're doing great. But at 27 years old, something clicks, and you're like, I gotta help the world. I'm gonna make powerful levels of business. I'm gonna inspire people, and this download starts to come in that you're supposed to help the world somehow in a very very big way. Like when you met Balaj, you must have just been like, because he has this number in his name. He's walking around after his numerology with the same thing you have in your birthday. So let that sink in for
oh,
a minute. Like what he was able to create, he'll tell you was because of the W he put in his name, that he now has a vibration that looks like your birthday. So there's something and this could take you like 30 years from today to figure this out. Like you may not fully realize this until your 60s. Like imagine that climb. And to think, man, I'm not gonna wait till that I'm like that long. I'm gonna do this now. Like this is the year. I'm like thinking, okay, great, that's fine. This is the year for you. I get it. But you're not gonna see a decrease until you're well in your age. And that's a wonderful thing to think of. That 9, global service. That 8, wealth, global service, wealth, create my wealth. There's only 24 hours in a day. If I have 100 people, that's 240 hours in a day. You've just multiplied time. This is not going to be successful in a job. You're not going to be able to work a freaking clock in, clock out, monkey
no,
do. Like
no.
for you, you're like, please don't finish that sentence. Like I know, and you're just like, because the 8's in you, boss, entrepreneur, and 9, I have to save the planet. I want to save the planet. I'm going to save the planet. I'm going to go out there and make a bunch of money and give it all back and make even more and give all that back. And so there's this eternal perpetual movement of wealth. That if you don't go after business, if you don't go after your success, you're going to pay a very strong price that shows up in karma in your next life. So I'd like to think that there's some old soul stuff going on in your chart. Like you see 9 is infinite. Then you see 1188. So double ones, double eights. The eights show up like wizard. Like you want to, like what you say is going to happen. And you're like, damn right, because I said it. And that feeling is like, I get it, I get it. You want to be in control and in power. But my advice for this number is to be very careful about how you swing your sword around. And I'm not to say that you don't swing it around properly. What I am saying is that what you say has magnetic quality in the quantum field. Your nanoparticles are literally affecting the global universal paradigm, if you want to get super happy pocket full of money on me. And that feeling is to think that you're literally like manifesting this universe in front of you. This is a power that not many people have. I give them a version of this power, but your birthday is setting you up to be like the Autobahn. There's no speed limit. There are no cops going to pull you over. You can go as fast as you absolutely desire. As a matter of fact, you can take off and actually go into outer space with these numbers. But then we look towards your names. And this is probably too much for this conversation, because again, it gets really super, super in depth and very private. But this is the.
Oh, I can share. I'm okay to share. Like
You want to do this?
If you can. If
I
not, whatever.
If Sally, if you're still watching, can you bring me the Batman phone? If you can bring me the Batman phone, then I can do the numbers for her. So Sally, if you're still watching, that would be so super cool if you could do that. That way, yes, she's giving me a heart. Okay, so if she's gonna come down with a tool, I'm using my phone right now, so I can't calculate your name. But while we're waiting, here's what we'll do. Let's get the name that you were born with, and this is gonna be nuts. So first name, middle name, last name.
Sally wants to know where is it.
Oh, she wants to know where is it? You had it. You had it. You accidentally brought it with you to dinner, and then you were like, I brought the wrong phone, and then you went to go back upstairs to get the right phone. So I'm not sure where the phone is, but yeah, I'm not sure. She's trying to find it, but we'll figure it out either way. So what name were you born with?
Christine Theophilus. So it means God and then friend of God.
So Christine, you said?
Yeah.
So is that
Christine?
And did you have a middle name?
Michelle.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Sweet.
Thanks, Sally.
Cool. See, look, Batman phone. That's what's up.
Oh, no.
So yeah, we call it that to the kids. So I have a calculator, numerology calculator, just so I can do this easy.
Oh, cool.
And how do you spell your original last name?
Okay, so it's THEOPHILS.
How do you say it?
Theophilus.
Theophilus. Cool.
Yeah.
That's a pretty spiritually powerful looking name, hey?
Yeah.
So we'll go Christine, and I'm just going to quickly pull that in there. And then we'll go Michelle with double L.
Yep.
Okay, and then Theophilus. And then let's do like that. Theophilus. So the original vibe looks like someone who is not really going to fit into the mold on one side, but on the other side, you'll start sacrificing for your friends. And so like this is a great friend to have, because you'll do whatever you can for your friends, but you probably don't treat yourself the same way. So there's like a big back door open in like, it's like, I'm going to give the best heat. I'm going to give the best love to others, but then you won't heat your own bedroom. And it's like, oh, don't worry about me. It's okay. I'm going to come back for me later. And instead, this can be a lot of self-fight. There's a lot of gypsy in this number. Like, I want to travel. I don't want to sit inside of the regular norm. I want to go and change. I don't want to stay in one space. So we see a lot of that. And then we also see inside of your last name, there's like business and leadership. So there's a destiny inside of Michelle, Theophilus, Christine, that you're going to have a sense of independence and a sense of you, which is nice, knowing your life path is a 9, that you have nicely placed ones in your chart. Now, you don't go by this name anymore. So now, did you legally change your name?
It will be getting changed. I've used this name for 2 years, almost 2 years,
Ma
and I'll
AnnaMaya.
continue to. Ma. Actually, it's a lot longer, the name. I just use Ma AnnaMaya as my, easy to catch on social media name, but it's a longer name that's given to me.
Yep.
So do you want the Ma AnnaMaya bit, or do you want the whole lot?
Well, I got that part anyway. But if you want to digest the name that you were given, it would be nice to know if you want to do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah,
So
no worries.
what's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
long version of this?
Okay, so it's Ma. So you got Ma, which is M-A. Next word is Nithya, Nithya.
Yep.
Next word is Annamaya. So Annamaya, Annamaya, and then Nanda, Nanda.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I'll do now is I'm going to count that out. Okay. So we're going to go,
Yep.
we're going to do all of this, and let's take a look and see, because you're planning on a legal name change. So we'd like to make
Yep.
sure that this is going to serve you. It absolutely does. This is a divinely put in name. Ma Nithya AnnaMaya
Surprise.
Nanda. This has got to be super validating, because I'm not sure if the giver of your name was also speaking in Pythagoras numerology. Like, what are the odds?
Well, he's a pretty supreme being, so I wouldn't be surprised that it corresponds.
Absolutely. And this is one of the names that I get that shows up as your birthday. Like, when I look at all of this together, right? We're looking at this. Let's let it focus. It'll come to focus. Let's do this. Come on. Okay, so we look at the whole string of letters. It's blurry.
Yep.
You have to take my word
Cool.
for it. It shows
I'll
up
take
here
I
as,
trust you.
there you go. So it says total vowels and consonants 8, 8, and 9. So the fact that this corresponds to your birthday is a very wow experience.
Wow.
It's like,
Wow.
I can imagine right now the feeling of you being like, whoa, God.
Wow.
And like you're literally, God is seeing you being like, ha, see, told you. And you're accelerating your version of you. I would say this name is
Totally.
more focused.
Since I got that name.
Sorry?
Yeah. Since I got the name and have been using it, my life just went on a massive trajectory of huge proportion.
It's crazy, because a massive trajectory, huge proportion, a massive shift in the direction of your life can have some breaking away of some things and some stuff that no longer serves you. A little bit of ascension symptoms, and getting clear with who you are. But remember, before, I'm like, you better be careful about the things that you say. This one now is like an extra container of that spiritual sacredness for you are a wizard. You're a wizard. You're a wizard. And so this value inside of your name, the long version of it, is to speak to the extreme power of global service and business. This is the second highest name that I would give anyone in terms of success in business. But it would take you a solid 10, 15, 20 years to truly fulfill this swing. It's like a big outfit. And as a 79 baby, you're just still too young to experience what it's like to be in your 50s and to be an actual ascended sage master. Like, you are a supreme being. That's why you got a name from a supreme being. This is why you turned onto that path. And it happens to a lot of us. But it's a rebirth. When you do this and you get a name like this, it's like suddenly you're growing through something again, but you're no longer like Cinderella cleaning the floors. Now you're the queen of the castle, and this is your vibe. So I expect some pretty big things from you. Let's just put it that way. Like, this is like, I'm gonna keep my eye on this. Your birthday and your name are literally the same. Like, how does this supreme being know?
Wow.
Like, let's just
Wow.
think about this logically for all the skeptics out there. How would your supreme being know that the amount of vowels and consonants in the name that he gave you or she gave you would be correlated to the amount of days and birthdays, month and day and year in your life path? It's almost a little bit too coincidental to just like dismiss and be like, oh, it's a coincidence.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would look at this more
Yeah.
being like, no, she's stepping into her true spiritual power. There's something bigger going on for the destiny that you're supposed to fulfill on this planet. So using a small business like this, I wouldn't say small, but using like a worldly business like this, it's the only thing that will truly satisfy you in how to make a living by freeing people from a dead system that's just like, oh, and you're the one fighting for change. You're hacking and slashing at it because Ma Nithya is a difficult name. This is not a good name. But Ma Nithya AnnaMaya is the most powerful name. So you're running a bit of camouflage. And you may take that for as long as it serves you. But what I would be doing is like, people don't see your full name. They don't see that. Only your
No, they
gurus
don't.
see you. Only the spiritual people see this. One day the government will see this on a passport or a driver's license. But when you're out there facing the world, Maya says, I'm a fighter, I'm a spiritualist, and I'm a sweetheart. So don't like worry about it. Let's just have fun. Let's just keep it real. Let's just have a good experience right now. And I don't have, but there's no value for wealth. There's no value for long-term value of our long-term family or long-term love. We're missing the 6 and missing the 8. Now, not to say that you
Mm.
need it, but if you're the type of person who's born on the 8th, you're born on an 8 year, you may be like, well, I success is part of the game. Like I can't work for anyone. I have to do my own thing. And then the short version of your name leaves you party, let's have fun, and let's just enjoy right now because now's all we got. So you're good at bringing people to the present moment. Fun, blast, fun energy. People will see it and want to be a part of it right away. But then underneath it, you're thinking like, okay, I gotta like, I gotta. There's like a tension that's building in there that wants to get to the next level, but it's being blocked or unloaded somehow or loaded up somehow. So you're thinking, shoot, I got to take my full name. You don't. You could put a letter U in there, or if you want, we could because we're doing this. Okay, we're full on doing this. You
Yeah, yeah,
could.
we're in.
We're in. You could put together a different combination of some of these names for a shorter version. Because what I would do if this was, if that, let's say, let's skip the origin of this name and let's just say you were Ma AnnaMaya and that was it, and you just had this name. I'd be like, okay, so you'd want to put a letter U in here, or a letter um, E, or a letter N, or a letter W. So you have these,
Oh, N would resonate. N
yeah,
would
right? Like
resonate
for
because that's
Nithya,
the
right?
N of the.
So
Mm.
let me just quickly double check that one and just see what this looks like. And so we're gonna go. Okay, so this one, it's like you got this. We're like, whoa, this name is so big. You're like, I know, right? It's crazy. It's crazy trajectories is ripping things off of you. If you put the letter N in there, you went Ma N AnnaMaya. Okay, this vibration brings in the 5, the warrior, the fighter spirit. You know, you got this, a feisty woman, this fighter spirit, and then brings in the princess vibration of sweetheart. I'm just loving. Let's just have fun. I just want to enjoy right now. And then it swoops back in 5 plus 3 equals 8, wealth.
Oh,
So
nice.
this is the culmination because I could give you a bunch of numbers and we're like those letters don't make sense. So like, well, this one resonates, and then this one would be your starter kit, your entry point, the gas to the floor, saying let's get a lot of speed so that one day we can lift off and fly off into the next generation of our soul. This would help you to get to the takeoff point. So you would take this name for a certain amount of time until it no longer resonates with you. Then the next one from here would be the letter E. So if you were to like, you don't have to take different letters. You could just take one and then own it, and then underneath legally have like a massive, powerful wizard name. This one's like a fighter, princess, warrior, wizard. Okay, so it's not super spiritual. It's more just like, look, it's all fun. people get really weird when you talk in that woohoo voodoo stuff. So it's easy for people to just experience a human being. So no alarm bells go off. People don't take you for a divine, ultimate spiritual being. They just see you as a fun experience. Let's make some wealth. So it serves a side of you. On the other side, let's say you were to take a letter E. Uh, yeah, right? The number now says independent, leader, visionary, spiritual, connected, communing with the gods, back down to wizard. So you got 2 points
Oh,
here. Let's say N, you're
I
like, oh
like it.
dude, now I'm stuck. Like I don't know which
Yeah, I
one.
know.
Like,
Like E sounds good too.
well, because like the N, you're like, hey, Nithya, I got that. I like it. It resonates with
Yeah,
me. That's what I was thinking because I'm like F. Otherwise, it was a
yeah, yeah.
Q or a Z. I'm like, or an X. I'm like, no. F, my middle name. I'm gonna do that. So you come in one side from the fun, the joy, the passion, business, or you come in from the other side, leadership, independence, intuition, business. So there could be different places you
Ooh,
use this. When I work with someone, I'm like, first of all, you're gonna change your name legally. That will be the defining moment of the transition you take into the state that you claim onto this planet. Like we live in a 3D reality. I
okay.
don't care how spiritual you are. You came down to play with the almighty dollar. There's a reason why currency is the same word as current, and current is a form of electricity. And same thing with your money is now a form of digital. There's this reason why it is called spells is also spelling. We're modern day wizards. So your basic magic power is about creating a cumulative level of wealth for yourself and others. I'm not afraid of that. Your spiritual conduit. You deserve this. You absolutely don't deserve to be broke and hand to mouth, being the starving spiritual artist. Like, doesn't make any sense. So we know that you're going to be powerful in that realm. So legally speaking, you've set the bar. But then on your human level, when you introduce yourself to people, you may want to attract non-millionaires, non-billionaires, regular types of people. With a full-on name like that, you may scare some people away by looking at this being like, whoa, I got to be,
That's true.
and you may want to
It's
have
why I
an
shortened it to,
easier.
yeah. That's why I shortened it to Ma AnnaMaya, because it was too long, and then I was like, how do you then bridge that kind of gap? So yeah, I'm
Especially
open
going
to
from
what
a
you're
name
saying.
like Christine, right? Like that's a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
like here you go, and then now it's like I've found God and I found a spiritual version of myself, and I'm speaking to my ancient wisdom. So there's a very big transition in that alone. But to think that this
yeah.
guy gave you like the most powerful name that one could ever have, you got to go back and be like, see, I do, you do, and that feeling of like, thank you, and appreciate you, and I see you, and I pray for you. That feeling because this person just up leveled you to live out the destiny of your birthday. Like that's like gotta that
Yes,
that puts
yes, yeah.
shivers on me just to experience that. I'm like, whoa, okay. There's a reason why I'm doing this. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unbelievable. But your short name is leaving you high and dry. So and you could do
Yeah,
it like
so
this.
mm,
Sorry, go for
mm.
it.
No, please. I'm certainly open to hearing what you're saying.
So you could say for the fun version of you, for your personal page, you put the N. And then when it comes to your business, on your business page, you business card the E so that you can move
Okay.
into a more spiritual or the other way around, depending on which
I
way
don't
feels
mind
right.
having the E. I don't mind having the E on my personal. I'm open to hearing. It's one of those things that I'm happy to play with. And if you think I could step into both of those now, then that's a great thing. Um, what what do you think? I'm open.
It's difficult to
What would you
suggest this.
recommend?
I would recommend strategy. Okay, so you got a really powerful name. You get your PTY LTD with this thing, like you brand to go legally with this big long name, and you hold it as the umbrella power for all of your existence. This is your global vision. Okay, so this is your soul's journey and purpose. It aligns to your birthday. So this name that you got from your supreme being guru is going to be something that's going to stay with you and legally get changed one day. Call me when that's going to happen. I'll give you the right day of the month to do something like that because this is date
Oh,
numerology. It's
yeah.
very, very important. You want the stars to align. And then from there, you got to really start asking yourself about your business. Do you want to be fun, enjoyable, that feisty woman, that warrior? Are you building that fun social warrior business? Or are you stepping into your quiet level of leadership where you can go into your
Yeah.
meditation, listen to someone, and then kind of feel what they need, and then go into your own center state and come back. No need for flash, no need for, look at me. It's very connected to someone and present to them. Whereas the other one's like, come on, you can do it. Woo, woo, woo. And like, party, let's move. And it's fun. And let's just don't worry about it. Whereas this one's like, look, we're not worried about it, but we're going to figure this out. And we're going to go through this. This is a serious tone. So you get it. And I know that you have both sides of you. So you may take one or the other. And this is where strategy could come in, to think if you wanted to take some strategy, take the N first, start running, get to 4A, 5A, 6A, get your business off the ground, start really running and building a team. You got 100 people in there. And then next thing you know, you step into your leadership version. You take the N out, you put the E in. And at that point, you're running a powerful vibe. And then after that, you get a chance, if you want to go through the big version of your name that you have inside of there. Yeah. So then you could take a longer version of it if you wanted to. But this is, or you could just take one right now, pick a lane. Or you could just take one for here, one for here, one for here, and spread your value. The reason why I can't tell you for sure is because I thought I was the guy who would take one name. But now that I'm 5 years later, I'm thinking about more names, and I'm like, I should have done something else. So it's open for debate. It's definitely something that you'd probably want to consider. But looking at your chart, I'm like, what does your soul tell you? Like, when you go back to the guides, what do they say? Like, there seems to be that feeling that your connection is open to the backdrop of souls that are helping you. That might be a good thing to test and to think which one you're going to want to run in with. But don't be afraid if you're like, shoot, I don't know which one to take. It's probably because you're going to switch in and out of them anyway. But if you're legally speaking still Christine Michelle Theophilus, it's, again, biting you in the bum, because this is going to be self-attack, no self-love, just care and give and service to others at the expense of you. You're paying for the bill. And you're like, don't worry about it, I got this. Like, no, you don't. Don't do that to yourself. The universe got you. Like, this is why the vibration is like, I got it, don't worry, because God takes care of me. But we want you to be able to be that significance of source code. And with these names, you're set. You're like super set. There are more. There's like 24 names that you could use. So it's not like...
really? Wow,
but,
that's huge amount.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different ones, all ranging from fun, hardworking, practical, all those 9 numbers I said. You get a chance to put them into a vibration that helps your wealth. So the name of the game is finding a vibration that helps you for business and life long term. None of these numbers that we decided, N, W, E, your full name, hold family or children. This looks like...
I have kids. I have kids.
So like,
I'm separated.
It's these energies are more focused for your platform, for your business, for your vision, as opposed to for your family. It's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh shoot, I have kids, that gonna bother me. No, it's not gonna bother you. You are who you are. That spiritual version of you is definitely in that, so you don't have to worry about that. But for someone like me who was like, well, I want to build a family business. Like, you saw my wife come in here with my baby boy. Yes. Like, they're a constant inside of my life. So for me, I wanted a number that acknowledged love as well as money and wealth. Whereas for you, you're probably acknowledging spirituality and wealth instead of love in the middle there. So there's, like, let's say you went...
Is there one with love? Because I really would be open to hearing that option.
Ma Nithya AnnaMaya. Okay. The letter U brings in spirituality, business, and love, and it swirls them all together. This is what I've been using.
That's it. I'm done. That's beautiful.
That's the one. Like, yeah, that's the one I need.
Yeah.
It could even...
Because it feels like it's got that connection, because it kind of feels like it then kind of brings it all together.
Well, just playing with this, okay? Let's just try. Yeah. You said it was Nithya AnnaMaya, right? So let's just go Ma Nithya AnnaMaya. See, this one would work. Ma Nithya AnnaMaya. So if you were to add Nithya inside of your vibe, it starts with family. Like, look at this. Look at, like, you'll have to trust me that these are the letters. It's super.
Yeah, I can't see.
They're in there. Trust me, that's how we spell it. Ma Nithya Maya Anna. AnnaMaya. I know, right? It keeps on going out. and we look at the value, and it says 8,
Yeah.
6, and 2. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So when I see these numbers, we look at them again, and this is the same vibration as the like again, we're gonna look 8, 6, and 2. This is the same
Yeah.
vibration as the word. Wait for it. Does it come in to focus? Let's see. Let's try it.
Oh,
It's supposed to say God, but it'll
oh,
show up in a second. There you go, God.
oh, it
So
is. Yeah.
the
Wow.
same sequence of letters of universal divine creative being would also be leveled in the value of Ma Nithya AnnaMaya. So if you were to able
Wow.
to run that vibration, super authentic, no initial, slightly a bit longer, but it shows up as mama bear, parent, leader, connector, love life, long-term love life, like you separated so that you can connect to your soul guide, your soul love, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
partner, angel, connection, partnership. Let's work together. So we have business work together, family
Yeah.
work together,
Definitely.
mama work together, love life work together, and then wizard, business, back to business.
Oh,
This is a
yeah.
name that would take you everywhere. And then underneath it, you'd have the big long version. So forget the N, the W, those are play
Love it.
around names. They're fun names. They're, hey, look, you could
Love
take a
it.
name. But then the two that you have now, Ma Nithya AnnaMaya says spiritual master, and then the other one says global vision. So these are much more spiritually potent names than just name that
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
for business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Got it. Oh, love it. Love it. I really
So what do
loved
you
it.
think? I mean, come on, we're alive here. You
Oh, I
gotta
can't
give
believe
me.
the lineup of the numbers. Just the oh, I'm kind of, part of me is not surprised, but part of me is surprised because it's still happening. It's like this kind of beautiful unfolding because I certainly had no idea what you did. I can be really honest. And so to get the lining up of my full name and then a better version of my shorter name, that kind of brings in all the elements of, for me, love is a big thing, but yes, that part of my life I'd like to, open up. And my children get wrapped in that, and the whole, like there's so much more to it. So I'm blessed that you've been able to
Are
share
you
that with
ready? Are
me.
you ready though?
Oh, I don't think we're ever ready for these things, but I think I just got to jump in.
Oh man, you're honestly like change your Facebook, get some business cards made, like change your page, like identify with this and go and get branding done with this name. I promise you something, you're gonna be a force to be reckoned with inside of this game that we're playing. It's an
Yeah,
unbelievable journey that we're on, and I'm blessed that you invited me for it. This is so super cool. I
no,
think we
it's
did some pretty
yeah,
powerful work today.
yeah, we have. So wow, so much shared, so much goodness. I didn't really think it would turn out as amazing as that right at the end, but I'm very, very grateful and blessed that that was part of the process, even though it wasn't really kind of happening that
Well,
way. But
this is what we do for people. This is what we do together.
I
We go
know,
into your
I know.
story.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, is there anything you want to share as a parting message? There's people that have hung out the whole time, and I'm very grateful that they've heard my version of things as well as all of your goodness from your life story and sharing, where you've taken things for yourself, and that's inspiring in itself. And you should be really proud of what you've done and really what's coming, because it's really, as you said, just the start of the magic that's evolving. So
I would
maybe
say,
one day we might collaborate, or we might share space and take whatever we need to the world. But I'm very grateful that we have shared this time together to, see what you do and see the goodness that you've got in your heart.
well, I would love to be a chance. I'd love to have the opportunity to work with the people who need to have me. I mean, this message is it's meant for you. It's meant for, and this is the person that's listening, right? Like, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It like I don't care what you've had to go through or what you've had to experience. You deserve to be successful and happy inside of your life. And I promise you, this stuff is the most important thing that you'll ever learn. Like whatever you are learning, it stands nothing against who you are and the value that you bring in with you into this world. And then to change it and move it into the direction you want, it's enough to think, oh, cool, it's great, but it's another to know it can change your life and then you don't do anything about it. you have the responsibility to vibrate at a godlike level. And now that we have the technology to do this, and it's not new, this isn't new. This is like old as time. My message would be to trust in yourself, to absolutely book a session in with me. Let me speak to you, at least share some sort of value or wisdom that can help you in your life. I offer payment plans. So in case someone feels like I can't afford this, message me. We'll figure out something super easy, comfortable, whatever it takes. I will pay for your session. You can pay me back later. I'm more interested in helping move the vibration and to help you move yours. So if you are sitting on the fence, you're wondering, should I do it? I promise you, the reaction that you gave me, like doing your numbers, a lot of people
I'm
go
almost
through
in
this.
tears. I'm really grateful.
Thank you. And me too. Honestly, me too. To be straight up, I really appreciate being able to do this and sharing this platform. But you guys, the story of your destiny, the story of your fate, it's written in the numbers inside of your birthday, inside of your name. And I don't take that for granted. And I wish you guys so much success. Like, you guys have blessed me so much. And I'm going places. I know I am. And I want to take an army of people with me. I want us to all make a lot of money. I want us all to, create a lot of change and impact in others, whether we give our money away or we generate it for others. Guys, there's so much power in this. And you can't stay closed to it. You have to know that this stuff exists, because it's changed everything for us. It's the long and the short of it. It's the game changer.
So beautiful, so beautiful. So thank you so much. Very, very grateful. Reach out to Bobby if you feel called to go that way. But even if you've come this far and watched it all till now and seen it all, just share your comments, ask any questions, and yeah, just reach out and let us know how you thought of what was shared. So thanks again, Bobby. You've been awesome, and we will sign it off there. Take care. I know it's late there too, so awesome for you for hanging out.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks, everyone.